this for Adams County for 2 years, for Adams and Day County, since I've moved back from Florida. Previously, I sat on the district board as the activities chair, and was active in Troop 67 out of Bern, where my 3 sons are Eagle Scouts. The paperwork that I've seen, it seems like we're always having a little bit of issues with getting the paperwork. Getting the paperwork done correctly. So I kind of wanted to just go through and give some tips as the kids start, this year, and maybe, working toward getting merit badges and hitting that life rank. And here's your paperwork, go for it. So my first tip would be save, save, save. Save your work. Save it on a computer, save it on a flash drive. You won't believe how many start the paperwork and don't save it. You get that? Yeah. It's got to be saved. I mean, I can't help you retrieve this paperwork that you closed because you didn't save the document. I would recommend saving it on a flash drive so that you knew right where it was at. But I went through it with 3 boys, so I know that all of a sudden we can't figure out what we saved it under, where it went in the computer when it saved, or whatever. So when you turn in your paperwork, when they turn in their proposal, I go through it, I call and talk to them, and they have to have a parent for the 2 deep leadership. I do not make a copy of the paperwork. I don't run to Charlie Bruin at Complete Printing in Decatur and say, make me a copy. I don't make it. Don't call me 6 months later and say, we can't find his proposal. I can't help you. You should have saved it on a flash drive or on the computer, but your scout should have saved the paperwork. Should have put this paperwork up into a spot where he or she was going to know where it was going to be. I tell them that they need to treat it like a college scholarship application or a college application for enrollment at a college. It's going to be the same kind of paperwork that they're going to get. It's going to be different questions. Yeah, what was your favorite novel and why might be on an essay question for a scholarship. But this kind of paperwork is what they're going to fill out for the Lilly, which every county in Indiana gives a Lilly scholarship. And then that scholarship is usually used to give the smaller denomination scholarships out through the county foundations. Wells County has one, Huntington County has one, Jay County has one, and Adams County has one. So everyone in our district does it the same way, to the best of my knowledge, from what I have been told, with the scholarship application. So they just need to view their Eagle application in that same manner and that same importance. My oldest son, Bradley, when he went to college out of state. He got a $10,000 scholarship for leadership based on his Eagle Scout project and being an Eagle and being able to prove that he was an Eagle. So it does pay off for these kids in the long run. Sometimes they're like, I don't want to wear the Scout uniform. The other kids are making fun of me and stuff. Well, those other kids aren't going to have the same opportunities your Scout's going to have. and I just can't stress that enough, that I think scouting is important, and I think that every scout that starts at a younger age can get Eagle Scout. There's really not a reason why they can't get Eagle Scout, other than they've just been lost in the process somewhere. So, before you start filling out the paperwork, you need to make sure that you have a current advancement record. All the scoutmasters or advancement chairs in the troop can get that, correct?
District executive.
District executive can get that. Because if there's an issue with emergency preparedness merit badge, that's the time to be looking at that when they first get this paperwork and going, well, it's not on there, but I got it. Okay, well, we need to find that blue card that hopefully somebody's kept along the way. But that's the time to make those corrections, instead of when we're typing this up 2 days before we turn 18, because it's got to be turned in by our 18th birthday. That's not the day to find out we don't have one of the merit badges listed on our paperwork.
Hold on a step a minute here. Before even that point, when your scout earns life and they're awarded it at their board of review, this packet is handed to whoever
Yes.
picks up the awards at council office. They need to read this front to back at least once. And I would also highly recommend a parent reads it with them. And thirdly, whoever's reading the application and these proposals that the scouts are turning in needs to have read this as well. That's us as leaders. That's our job. So we know what they're supposed to be doing as well.
Yeah, because pretty much everything that I'm going through tonight, there's a letter in here from Tim that, you know, is just reiterating everything that we're saying here tonight. Complete addresses. 5215 West 700 South does not tell Julie anything. She cannot mail that reference letter to a person because she can't guess Huntington, Bluffton, Geneva, Bern. I mean, we can look up a zip code if they don't put, you know, 46772 for Monroe. But we can't just figure out the city. I had one that had no letters of recommendation, and that was why. Is because we had addresses that were rural addresses or street addresses, but we didn't know what town, so Julie couldn't send them. Complete emails. My email is pattyhogg@ymail.com. I have no numbers in mine, but most people have numbers in them and stuff. You know, what is it? Alan S. Corn 13? Okay. You know, the emails don't get delivered. I communicate by email. Tom does by phone. References need to have voicemails or answering machines.
Better set up.
Yes.
Start full.
Yes. Because, I mean, we can only try for so long to reach people, and anymore they don't answer their phone if they don't know the number calling.
Well, and that actually made, on the reference side of things, this is another good point to think about, because this is a practice. How many of us have had to give references for jobs? How many of us have actually asked the people that we're giving as references that we can use them?
Well, that was my next,
And as scouts, they should be doing it as well. Ask the people you want to put on as your Eagle reference, hey, I'd like to use you as a reference for my Eagle application. Are you okay with that? My son did. I don't know how many papers got turned in for him, but he asked every single one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to ask so that they know what they're getting when it comes, because you know, the average civilian has no clue what is required for, you know, a young man or woman to get to this point. You know, and they may not even know that they're an Eagle Scout or working on their Eagle Scout. So you need to make sure that you have the permission to use your reference. Do not use family. The one I have right now, I got aunt, I got grandma, and I got a cousin on the application. And then mom and dad are the parents. So it doesn't leave me a lot to work with because I will not knowingly put a family member on a board of review. Most of the time, you see an application for a job and they ask for references and they'll tell you, not family, no relation. So I really strongly recommend that you don't do that, or make sure I don't find out if you did.
Who should be the reference? Who should you have references from?
Okay, you need an educational reference. If you have a religious reference,
Teacher, minister, school administrator, coach, Sunday school teacher, youth leader.
and then you got two others. And that's where we get to where I don't know who to put. So I'll put,
Employer.
huh?
Employer.
Oh yeah, and we have an employer. And I understand not all scouts have a job before they fill this out, and that's fine. And not all have a religious, and that's also fine. But in those cases, then you really better watch who you put for the other ones. Because, and there's no reason why you can use your history teacher and then turn around and use your football coach, as long as they're two separate people. You know, I mean, you can use more than one educational. Just because there's only one spot that says educational, they can fill in the other lines. I don't like to see somebody from the troop, because normally I will ask somebody from 67 to sit on a 67 board, somebody from 206 to sit on a 206 board, but I don't necessarily want to be pinpointed to feel like I have to use them because they were used as a reference. So I don't like to see anybody in the scout troop associated used as a reference in the two blank spots either. Make sure to have a voicemail set up. That was my line. This is my oldest son's Eagle project. He got it in 2008. It's tight. I do not want to hear, I can't get it tight. If my son in 2008 could get it tight on a dial-up internet computer, there should be no reason with today's technology that a scout shouldn't be able to utilize the fillable PDF forms.
Some of them computers will not do it.
Well,
That's
there
part-
is a proper steps you have to take. And again, if you read the packet, and when you go to download, the actual packet that you download tells you flat out, you have to download it and save it to a local drive before you start working on it. If you don't do it that way, it will not work.
Correct.
But on school computers, you can't do that.
Okay.
Because you're getting into their,
Okay.
Well, and it's a
Okay.
school computer.
Yeah,
This
so
isn't
we-
a school
Yeah.
project.
well,
So that's where we as the leaders can.
that's what you have, that's what you got.
Yeah, some people
We
don't have access.
We don't have internet. We cannot get internet at our place.
Library. I toted one of my
Well,
kids to the library
we
in
did too.
Geneva for him to fill his out.
But we,
But we put it on a flash drive.
yes.
That's why I said that would be your best bet, is to put it on a flash drive.
Especially if it's one of your scouts that you know has trouble having access to computers, the flash drive is the best option because it gives you the extra portability that you can work on any computer. Because it'll work. If you download it onto a flash drive and save it to a flash drive, it will work from there. But
It'll
just
work
not-
at Grandma's computer in Indianapolis. They can take it with them and work on it down there. Or it'll work at the Jay County Library on their computer.
So, and again, this is one of those things where you will hear that excuse. So how do we help get them past that excuse? How do we support them to be successful and help them think out beyond that? Well, I don't have a computer access. Okay, well, what can we do? Can you get a flash drive? Well, let's download it here. And things along that nature. One of the things I've added is I can turn my phone into a hotspot because where we meet, there is no internet. Every once in a while it tells me I got Wi-Fi, but I'm trying to pick up the bank's or the bank's main office, and that doesn't work. But that gives an opportunity because I've had scouts that didn't have access to a printer. Okay, bring it on a flash drive. We'll print it out. So that's one of those places where we as their leaders, we're their support mechanism. We're here to help them be successful without doing it for them.
And I would strongly recommend that one person in each troop familiarize themselves with this paperwork so that you can sit down every time you have an Eagle candidate and you can walk through this paperwork with them instead of, here's paperwork, let me know if you have any questions. And and it can be anybody. It doesn't have to be the scoutmaster. It can be a committee member. Ask one of your committee members. Say, would you take on this responsibility? We got 2 boys that are going to be hitting life in the next couple of months, hopefully. It's not, most of the troops aren't going to have 15 at one time and all of a sudden you're overwhelmed with paperwork.
Except for 30 over there over in that. Or it could even be, how many units have a parent that's a teacher? How many units that have a parent that a teacher would be a perfect person to be able to look over a document like this?
Especially a language arts teacher.
I would agree, but I'd even.
Yeah, we were getting ready to get to that one. I want to take a red pen every time I see a lowercase I and just go make a capital I. I understand that's how they communicate, and it's lowercase.
Yeah.
But that's not proper. And that's probably my biggest pet peeve is the lowercase i's.
My scouts, when they bring them to me for approval, punctuation and grammar is absolutely something I'm looking at and looking for. And I've had scouts where they've gotten it back for me 4 and 5 times because their grammar and punctuation was worse than mine. I've had others that I had to change one word and said, "You're good."
Steve wanted me to address the ambition statement. It is not a summary of your scouting career. It is your future, your ambition toward the future. What you want to do. It's not a problem for them to say, "I done the animal science merit badge and really enjoyed that, so I'm going to pursue a career in veterinary science or as a vet tech." That's fine, but it's not a wrap up of all the campouts they've been on and the high adventures that they've went on and everything. It's geared toward, we want to know their future. The other thing down here when you do the merit badges, emergency preparedness and life-saving. You can cross one of them out, draw a line through it. Whichever one you're using, put the date in when you earned it. If you earned the other one, that's fine and great, you can use it as an elective and then put that date in there. But we won't necessarily know which one you're using when there's an option of 2 or 3 different ones to pick from.
Is the one that's online current?
Yes.
Because this doesn't have the citizenship and society on it.
As of this morning, it didn't have it yet.
It's not? Okay.
And to clarify online, where were you looking for this document?
In the forms area of the webpage,
Whose webpage?
AWAC.
AWAC's webpage.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but we can find this on a national webpage too, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and there's one other place, and it's actually, the recommendation for any unit that's using Scoutbook,
Is national.
you can
Well,
download
yeah, yeah.
from Scoutbook directly, which is national.
Right.
You can download that Scout's Eagle application with all the information pre-filled out directly from Scoutbook. All the stuff they put in then is the references and that information. And that is by far the best way to do it.
Yeah, yeah, so clarify, this piece of paper off of the AWAC website is probably not the best website to go to.
Probably
That's
not.
like finding it on Google somewhere on Troop 694 from Colorado.
Well, could be,
So,
yeah.
that's junk. Because the instructions right here say go to NESA and find everything you need from NESA. Right, so you always go to the national website. But by all means, if you're using the Scoutbook software, it takes care of a lot of everything you've explained to us already. Happens right out of the software magazine.
Well, we must not have a lot of use.
At least for the application.
Yeah.
For the rest of the package, you still gotta get it out of.
The download
NESA.
packet from NESA, you can type inside of that,
Yeah.
it makes a fillable, typable document, yeah.
But that's where a lot of the problems that she was talking about is coming through.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing, it sounds like you're seeing the same stuff over your neck of the woods, Tom. So,
Yeah. Anything else? Any questions? Something I can answer?